Well, Charles, literally, we've just seen a police truck driving past with the windscreen smashed out. The passenger in the front seat appears to be a policeman with his head in his hands, holding his head. I can see black smoke drifting up from what appear to be fires in some of the buildings in the centre of Alexandria. Here we've seen running street battles between perhaps as many as 10,000 demonstrators on the streets and police. Hundreds of riot-clad police firing tear gas. The tear gas keeps wafting through the streets on the wind here. And you can hear the rounds being fired every few minutes or so as the confrontation between police and protesters moves around the streets now. Right now it's focusing on a central square in close to the heart of Alexandria. The protesters say that they're demanding from the police the release of some of the protesters that have been captured by the police. But it's a situation that's in constant flux. I'm looking now at about 3 army trucks driving away from that burning smoke, escorting it appears to be another police vehicle with its windscreen completely smashed out. Various other police vehicles also driving away from that scene. So it appears as if the police pulling back from a confrontation that's going on just a little ways away from here. And that's typical of what we've been seeing. We've been seeing the police not firing in some situations at protesters not throwing rocks at the police, and then the police backing off. It appears in many cases that the protesters really have the upper hand as the police try and decide do they carry out their government orders or do they go with the people. Charles?
So you're really suggesting there, Nick, that the police are wavering, that, if you like, they're pulling the punch and they're preparing perhaps for a change of regime?
What I've witnessed here on one side street that seems to tell the story of what we've seen elsewhere and the story of what's happening. Police came on a charge around the corner throwing rocks at the crowd. The crowd ran away. One man walked into the middle of the fray, rocks flying past him in both directions, stood there with his arms held aloft, calling for calm. More people joined him in this peaceful stance. Older men in the crowd stopped the young men from throwing rocks. The police stopped throwing rocks. The crowd met on the front line with the police, and instead of bashing each other over the head, they were talking. I can hear automatic gunfire in the background here from perhaps maybe half a mile or so away. And the police at that moment, the rock throwers began again, and the police then at that moment decided to pull back. They were outnumbered, but there seemed to be a moment where they didn't want the violent confrontation, that they were prepared to stand there with the protesters. They're supposed to keep off the streets. Stand there with them and talk to them. The protesters were slapping some of the police on the back in a friendly way. That's what we've seen happening here today.
Nick, thank you. Who knows whether that microcosm is echoed around Egypt. Certainly a difficult time for the police as much as for anyone else. Nick, thank you very much. Live report there from Alexandria, one of the Egyptian cities that are seeing protests at the moment. We're going to take a break, but we're going to continue to report on this story live. Stay with us.